We have joined
Welcome, Mr. Saraf. Wonderful to have you. Let me briefly introduce you, sir. Mr. Saraf is chairperson of Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board and has been chairperson now for a few years. And I have to say that under his chairmanship, the sector has progressed a great deal more than it had previously. He brings with him, of course, a lot of experience in the oil and gas industry. He was chairman and managing director of ONGC and chairman of its group companies, ONGC Videsh Limited, Mangalore Refinery and Petrochemicals Limited, ONGC Mangalore Petrochemicals Limited, etc., etc. He's also been president of Global Compact Network India, chairman of Petrotech Society and Federation of Indian Petroleum Industry. He's a member of the governing body of CSIR. He was recently conferred an honorary Doctor of Philosophy degree. He has a degree in commerce from Shri Ram College of Commerce, University of Delhi. He's also an associate member of Institute of Cost Accountants of India and Institute of Company Secretaries of India. Mr. Saraf, welcome, sir. Thank you for being here. And will we have remarks or will we have a presentation, Priyanka? Priyanka, could you tell us that? Yeah. Mr. Saraf, if you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Sir, I've just
I'm audible?
Yes, you're audible, sir. And I've just introduced you, talked about how much the PNGRB has progressed since you took over as chairman. Also talked about your previous career with a very illustrious career with ONGC and how happy we are to have you with us. Yes, sir. Yeah. Sir, will you be making remarks or will you be making a presentation? Can you hear us, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. Yeah. Sir, will you be making a presentation or will you be making remarks?
Yeah, I will be making my remarks, which I will begin now.
Wonderful.
First of all, let me apologize for the delay because it was some problem in my desktop. So that's why I'm shifting to another room. So I will be, as planned, speaking something on what has been done in last 2-3 years in PNGRB on increasing the consumption of gas in the country. And what regulatory initiatives we have taken and what are the next steps. So I will be speaking on that. So let me begin by saying that the share of gas consumption in India's energy basket is 6%, and we would like to increase it to 15% for certain regions, which is environment as well as cheaper gas. And not many things have been done, but first of all, we would need to realize that for increasing the share of gas in our country's energy basket by 6% to 15%, which means that the total consumption of gas would go up by 2.5 times. Thus, the energy consumption itself will increase. So we expect that the natural gas consumption in the coming 10 to 15 years should go up between 3 to 4 times than what is today. And for this, so much of supporting infrastructure is required in terms of the pipelines, the LNG import terminals, the last mile connectivity, which is CGD areas, and most importantly, the supporting regulations, which I will be covering in detail in my talk today. So, first of all, let me talk on city gas distribution. Today we have 229 geographical areas, and 2 years back we had just 76 of them. Today the population coverage by CGD is 71%, and 2 years back it was just 17%. In area coverage, it was 10%. Now it has been increased to 53%. This is mainly from 9th CGD bidding round and 10th CGD bidding round. And we are thinking of having one more round, but due to certain difficulties which the industry is facing due to COVID-19, we have deferred that for some time, and we will be bringing that soon as soon as we feel that the industry is comfortable. Today we have 56 lakh domestic connections for piped natural gas in the houses, and in next 6 years it should increase to 5 crores. Today we have 1,800 CNG stations, and in next 6 years it should be more than 10,000. And this has been done because of the commitment which we have from the industry during the 9th and 10th CGD bidding round. In the 9th and 10th CGD bidding round, the regulations were overhauled, and because of that, there is absolute focus on creation of infrastructure. And this is, I just talked that from 56 lakh to 5 crore domestic connections, and from 1,800 to 10,000 CNG stations. The regulations on CGD, they have been made more business friendly. The exclusivity period has been increased from earlier 5 years to 8 years, which can further increase to up to 10 years, depending on the meeting of the targets timely by the CGD entities. While the CGD regulations have been made business friendly, they are business like as well, because we have also introduced legal consequences, legal penalties if the targets are not met in time. Today, where are we in terms of our implementation? I'm happy to say that the implementation has been almost as planned. Most of the CGD entities have already completed the financial closure, and they have also tied up gas sale purchase agreement with the gas suppliers. Most of them, not all of them. Now, in the COVID-19 situation, it's a force majeure situation, and the CGD companies are also facing certain difficulties, which we are trying to resolve them on ground, as well as also give them the benefit of force majeure. In yesterday's board meeting of PNGRB, we approved the guidelines for giving the benefit of force majeure, and they are expected to be put on our website, I think by today. So this is on CGD, what has been done. On natural gas pipelines, we have 17,000 kilometers of operational pipelines, which would increase to more than 32,500 kilometers in next 3 to 4 years. Last 2 years, more than 9,000 kilometers of new pipelines have been authorized, and these have been authorized in the areas which were where the pipelines were either not there at all, or the pipeline density was very, very low. The Jagdishpur-Haldia Dhamra pipeline has been awarded with the minority gap funding from the Government of India. This has been further extended to up to Guwahati, and this would cover eastern UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and Assam. After that, a pipeline which starts from Mumbai goes to Jharsuguda via Nagpur, and there is a spur line to Raipur also, covering Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Odisha. That has also been awarded again. One more pipeline, which we call as Northeast Grid, has also been awarded. to a new company, which is a consortium of the public sector companies, and it would cover all the 8 northeast states. And one more thing which is very significant, which has happened in the last few years, is that some of the pipelines, the construction of which was held up for different regions, now they are also getting completed. The Kochi-Mangalore pipeline of GAIL has been almost completed, and it will be commissioned anytime. Similarly, the Ennore-Tuticorin pipeline of Indian Oil Corporation, good progress has been seen in that because of the now support from some of the southern states. Similarly, the Mehsana-Bathinda pipeline of GSPL consortium, the progress of which was earlier slow, now the progress has become quite satisfactory. So this is on the pipelines that I just wanted to share. The LNG terminals, earlier practically we had only Dahej and Hazira, but today we have Kochi terminal also now fully operational. It would be once the Kochi-Mangalore pipeline of GAIL, which I just mentioned, would be commissioned. Similarly, the Mundra in Gujarat has already been commissioned, and Ennore in Tamil Nadu has also been commissioned by Indian Oil Corporation. The new terminals which are under construction at different stages are Dhamra, Jaigarh, Chhara, and Jafrabad. So this is what has been done and what is being done on creation of infrastructure. Now, the moot question today is that do we have supportive regulations to increase the share of gas further? I will cover that also. First of all, let me say that the opening up of use of LNG in the transport sector has been one step which PNGRB has taken in the recent past. Earlier, the impression was that the supply of LNG to the transport sector was within the full domain of the CGD entities. So that wrong impression we have now corrected by issuing a clarification with the result that anybody, any entity can establish CNG dispensing, LNG dispensing stations anywhere in India, irrespective of the fact whether he is an authorized entity or not, or whether the GA has been authorized by PNGRB or not. So this would open up the LNG dispensing marketing, this particular area to any entity in the country. The result is going to be that in China we see that 250,000 LNG trucks are plying, and this is a big market. So I think this market also would prosper in India, with the result that the gas consumption in India is going to increase. And you will also see, I will show you that how the further regulatory steps which we are taking, how that also connect to this particular step which we have just taken. Now, one overarching reform which PNGRB has already initiated is introduction of gas trading exchange. I say this as the highest level of market reform which we are presently working on, and in fact it is a combination of several reforms. And what this exchange would do, it would ensure transparent discovery of price of natural gas on a continuous basis. Unlike crude oil price, which is there is a global market of crude oil, but the market of gas is regional. It's not global. And because of that, each region, each country has to discover its own price of natural gas. And in India, we have a number of gas prices. There is an APM price, there is an APM price for difficult gas, there is a price for different production sharing contracts, there is a price for LNG. So there are several prices which we have for natural gas in India. So ultimately, what the gas trading exchange would do, it would unify the price. There would be, we are working on the concept of one country, one gas price ultimately. It would, of course, take some time, but at least there would be a transparent discovery of this price, and the buyer would be no longer dependent on one or few suppliers, and he can buy gas from the exchange itself. The counterparty risk of non-performance would be virtually absent, as the exchange would be the counterparty which would be closely regulated. Similar comforts would also be available to the seller. To put it differently, the buyer as well as seller would have more confidence in the natural gas as a major fuel option. Now, what is going to happen in the gas exchange? Because the trading of gas and the capacity in the pipeline are two things which are presently de-linked. Somebody may buy gas from somewhere, but he may not get the capacity in the pipeline. So, in the exchange, what is going to happen? A person will be able to transact in the exchange only if the capacity is available in the pipeline. So, any transaction, if that happens in the exchange, there would be a guarantee that the pipeline capacity would be available. The availability of the pipeline capacity will become more transparent because there is going to be a gas pipeline capacity bulletin board. I will come to that. The next reform, which is also interlinked, is gas tariff reform, pipeline tariff reform, which means that the problem with the current pipeline tariff is that when the gas has to move from one place to another place, utilizing several pipelines, we have the problem of cascading tariff. The customer has to pay tariff for each of such pipelines, and by the time it reaches the destination, gas really becomes unviable. So to resolve that problem, we have started an initiative to have one single postal tariff for all the pipelines across the country. We have prepared a paper for that, a draft regulation, which has already been circulated to the stakeholders, and we have a very enriching stakeholders consultation, and based on that we are finalizing that. This would also help in implementation, smoother implementation of natural gas trading exchange. So I spoke out on access to the pipeline. The access to the pipeline, the concern of some of the consumers is that they don't get capacity in the pipeline unless they get they buy gas from the gas transporting company itself, which is engaged in the marketing of gas as well. And we feel that unless the buyers and seller get free and transparent access to the natural gas pipelines, they would not have confidence in the natural gas as a fuel option. To gain stakeholders' confidence, there are several initiatives taken along with the start of gas exchange. Pipeline capacity electronic bulletin board, which I just spoke of, is one. It's going to be a virtual, online, real-time bulletin board, which would show the capacity of the pipeline and is how much at a particular time and how much is already booked and how much is still available within a time frame. The information would be available in a virtual online bulletin board on a real-time basis for each of the pipeline section. Before buying gas, in the exchange, the buyer will be able to check whether the pipeline capacity is available between the points from the source to his required destination for the time period he wants to buy the gas. In fact, since it is expected to be a physical delivery only exchange to begin with, only those transactions will be concluded in the exchange where the gas pipeline capacity is available. So this is going to be a major step which the industry would see within next couple of months. And another thing which we have taken up is introduction of Master Gas Transmission Agreement, which is GTA. This is a standardized agreement which need not be negotiated with the pipeline companies again. It would have a status of law, and very few deviations would be allowed. We are trying to create a situation like a virtual situation of unbundling of the marketing and transportation of gas, because real unbundling may not happen in the short run, because that is a step which the government has to take. But we would create a situation which is like unbundling. Here we are in this process in establishing the exchange. The draft regulation for establishment of the exchange have already been uploaded on our website. We had the stakeholders consultation meeting a couple of weeks back, and we feel that the exchange regulation would be finalized and notified within next 2 to 3 weeks. And after which we would start receiving applications for authorization of an exchange. And we also hope that by the end of November, we would have an exchange fully authorized to do the trading function. So it's as near as that. What we are envisaging is in the exchange, there would be transactions for purchase of natural gas, sale of natural gas. That's the normal function. But in addition to that, there would be provision for the, at least there would be an enablement for trading of the natural gas pipeline capacity also. So like purchase and sale of gas, there could be transactions on purchase and sale of the capacity also. Suppose somebody has made a contract for the purchase of capacity and he's not able to utilize that capacity because he has changed his plan and the gas is not utilizing during that particular period. So he can sell that capacity and need not pay the transmission charges, or he would pay the transmission charges, but he can recover that from the buyer of the capacity. So that's one. In addition to that, we also envisage that LNG also as a product would also be transacted in the exchange. The result would be that on the buy side, there could be certain geographical areas in the CGD which are not connected with the natural gas pipelines and who are planning that they would gasify their geographical area by LNG. So they can buy the LNG from the exchange and supply the gas to their customers, to their CGD customers. On sell side, again, it will have real major implication because the big companies can buy LNG in bulk and then supply to smaller customers, industrial customers, and the CGD customers through the exchange. And we feel like natural gas trading, the trading of LNG also would increase the natural gas consumption in the country. So these are the major regulatory steps which we have already taken, and some of which are in process as well. And we are expected to conclude them within a period of next 3 to 4 months. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saraf, for giving us a very good overview of progress made and also initiatives that you are looking at and how it can make a difference. We have a number of questions. I'm going to go through those. First, I'm going to take questions from the audience, and then I'll ask my own questions after that. First question is from Ajay Khullar. I think you might have mentioned that, and I might have missed it. When is the 11th round awarding expected?
I already replied that the 11th round we had already planned. We had identified the areas which would be covered in the 11th round. We had also frozen that which are the regulatory changes which would be required in the 11th round. But we have reassessed the position with respect to COVID-19. And we feel that we need to give a break for a couple of weeks to some months before we initiate the 11th round. So just wait for some months.
All right. Okay. Sir, next question is, after this COVID-19 scenario, how do you project the MWP? Is there any relaxation for MWPs for this year, 2021, and for further years? And will this revised MVP be shared? MWP, not MVP, MWP, sorry.
Government has already notified that the COVID-19 is to be considered as a force majeure. Ministry of Finance has already issued certain guidelines on that. Based on those guidelines, PNGRB board has approved some of the guidelines that how COVID-19 would be dealt with the situation in the implementation of various projects of PNGRB. And those guidelines are expected to be uploaded on our website today. And we have also already received much of the information from various entities. Some of the additional information the entities can send, and then we would process their claims for force majeure due to COVID-19.
Sir, question from Karthik Sagar. He wants to know, is PNGRB encouraging CGDs for effective monitoring of pipeline construction through any kind of digital monitoring or intervention?
Just repeat the question.
Yeah, is the PNGRB encouraging the city gas distribution companies for effective monitoring of the pipeline construction through digital monitoring or digital intervention?
You see, PNGRB is a regulatory body, and the entities which have been assigned the job of construction of pipeline is entirely up to them. While we encourage the entities to use as much as digital products for implementation of their projects, but we don't interfere in how they would like to implement their projects. It's a commercial decision to be taken by them, but whenever we interact with them, we do encourage them to use more and more modern technologies.
Sir, next question is PNGRB working for any one-call DBYD, as in dig before you dial system, to support city gas construction?
Again, you need to repeat the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is the PNGRB working towards or thinking of any system which is one called DBYD, which means dig before you dial? I'm sorry, dial before you dig.
Yes. This is already there in the oil and gas sector, in the petroleum sector, but we would do that as a one single number nationwide. Yeah, that's a good suggestion which has come to us recently to implement that.
Okay, sir. The next question is: are there any regulations related to the use of hydrogen blending in CNG?
Hydrogen, yes. Some of the companies have taken initiative in mixing of hydrogen in natural gas. Specifically CNG before it is sold, so which is expected to reduce the emission, carbon emission. This is at pilot stage, but we feel that the companies, CGD companies, would soon implement that at a larger scale as well.
So next question is from Abhijit Rajguru. His question is, what policy changes you feel are necessary to facilitate use of LNG by industries for tri-generation applications? This would help in increasing the consumption of natural gas.
Anup, your voice cracks in between.
Yes. So, yeah, sir, let me repeat that. This is a question from Abhijit Rajguru. He wants to know what policy, in your opinion, what policy changes are necessary to facilitate use of LNG by industries for tri-generation?
I'm not sure. I'm not very clear about the question. Also, I think we can skip it.
Yeah, we'll move to the next question, sir. From GL Goel, he says the fleet owners are not coming forward for transport of LNG. So, any comments on that?
Again, there's some sound problem.
Yeah, sir. Let me repeat that, sir. His question is that the fleet owners are not coming forward for use of LNG in transportation.
Oh yeah, I think it's the whole of the ecosystem need to be prepared, because there needs to be LNG stations on the road, on the highways in sufficient number. There have to be LNG trucks available, either by retrofit or by this thing auxiliary manufactured. There have to be facilities for repair. Then only, I mean, the fleet owners would be ready to have such trucks. So all that will happen in course of time. It's not that it would happen overnight. So what is PNGRB's role is to enable, so far as the regulations are concerned. We have opened up the regulation. This was the industry desire, which we did that. Now the industry would need to work. The gas industry, the transport industry, the fleet owners, the repair workshops, everybody would need to work together to make it happen. And I think it would happen. It will not happen in next few months. It will take some time, but definitely it would happen, because the economics demand it. Because the LNG would be far cheaper. The payback period of the investments which the fleet owners would make, the payback period is very, very short. So this would happen, but it will take some time.
Okay. Sir, next question is from Abhimanyu Sharma. He wants to know that considering fertilizers are a government-controlled product, can fertilizer industry do gas trading on Indian Gas Exchange?
Oh, yes, the fertilizer companies can do the trading. Either they can become the member, or they can trade on their own account through the members. Definitely they can do it and get benefit in the prices. Though, I mean, these are the controlled products, but ultimately the subsidy on fertilizer is paid by the government of India. So the subsidy burden of the government of India can also be reduced to the extent they buy the non-APM gas for the use of in fertilizer.
Okay. Sir, next question is from Raghavendra Kedia. He wants to know, although I think this might be more a ministry question, he wants to know, are there any incentives planned for LNG conversion of existing fleet?
Incentive for LNG?
Conversion of existing fleet, transportation fleet. Yeah.
I'm not too sure, but I don't think that any financial incentive would be required, because as I just said that this is something which for which, I mean, the economics is quite good. The payback period is very short, so I don't think that any fiscal incentive would be required for that.
Okay. Sir, next suggestion is from Devesh Jha. he is requesting PNGRB to frame GIS requirements in more detailed fashion so that the CGD companies opt for industry-proven GIS solutions.
Yeah, I think this GIS is already required in our T4S regulations, but we can see the suggestion and that what further can be done. I think this person can contact us as well, so that if he has got some specific suggestion, he can always make to us that how to further strengthen the requirement of GIS.
Mr. Saraf, I'm going to ask you one question that I always ask you, which is, are you satisfied with responses of industry players, different stakeholders, and what suggestions do you have for them?
I would say that I'm highly satisfied with the response of the industry. First of all, when we launched the 9th round, when we launched the 10th round, there was huge success. We got 631 bids for 136 GS. And all the GS which were offered, they were taken. So today, where we are, would not have been possible without the support of the industry. On this, I'm highly satisfied. Not only the domestic companies, but the foreign companies or the companies with foreign funding have also participated. Some of the companies have got stakes in natural gas business, be it Total, be it Shell was already there, and BP also. So some of the foreign companies are also there. On implementation of CGD, I think the industry has done fairly well. I would not say that I'm highly satisfied, but I'm reasonably satisfied that they have done quite well. Despite all the difficulties, despite the very tight situation in the financial markets, most of the companies have already completed their financial closure in a short time. So most of the companies have also completed their gas sale purchase agreement, and many of the companies have already started implementation of their projects quite aggressively. So many CNG stations have already been built up. The pipelines are being laid. So I'm quite satisfied. But something which has happened is COVID-19, which has totally stopped this implementation of the project from March onwards, or the mid of March onwards. So this is something which is beyond their control. But for that, I'm satisfied with the support which the industry has made. The advice to the industry would be to become even more aggressive in project implementation, and the advice would be to also create manufacturing base, be it for the smart meters, be it for compressors, be it for pipelines. Either they can do it, some of the bigger players can do this either themselves, or they can tie up with some of the big groups, either Indian or foreign, and start manufacturing of all the material which is required for the implementation of CGD and natural gas pipeline projects in India itself.
Okay, sir, next question from me. What kind of issues are coming up as the exclusivity periods come to an end?
So the exclusivity period has to come to an end, and it is long overdue. So and now this regulations also for this would come very shortly, and then implementation of that would start. I do not know what sort of issues would come up while we are implementing this. We have to, if such issues do come, perhaps they would come. We have to face that, we have to resolve that. but it would be also in the interest of the CGD companies themselves that this exclusivity comes to an end, because the business would grow. First of all, the business would grow, and of the bigger cake, their total revenue also should grow. Though some of that revenue would go to some different company, but their share of revenue should also grow.
Okay, sir. Last question from me: what sort of consultative papers can we expect in the next 1 year from PNGRB?
Well, these are just described in the last half an hour. So, whatever new regulations are coming, we do issue consultative paper, and after considering very seriously the response of the industry stakeholders, even the public, we take a final view. So, a lot of consultation papers will come on different regulations.
Are you holding video hearings these days?
Are we?
Are you holding video hearings these days? Public hearings?
Oh, yeah, we are holding the hearings, but those hearings are on virtual mode, right. Because holding the like you are holding your conference in virtual mode. So we are also holding our hearings on virtual mode.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Saraf. As always, it's a great honor and privilege and pleasure to have you with us. And we are very grateful.
Thank you, Alok. And I really enjoyed the session, as I do in the past also. Thank you for having me here.